This tiny city of the Eastern Cape woke up to some surprising news today. Yeah, the name Grahamstown is no more. The City of Saints has been renamed and it will be known henceforth as Makhanda. And the new name was gazetted today. Makhanda was a Xhosa warrior and a spiritual leader who fought against British colonization. He's credited with attempting to unite the Xhosa in their struggle against the British Empire.
Nilele zemginkomo nilele na zemginkomo 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 ophela zemginkomo ingomo ingomo skabawo ingomo
Tina ne youth yethu Tina asifuni lando yodibana singabantwana senze into sasikhipha busy yabo sibe busy sisuke kwi-drugs yonke lando into esiyenzayo xana ungena chomi kanye udepressed lonto awufuni umuntu othetha naye asithembani
abantu abakhathalele nanga apha ya abantu abakhathalele nanga umntu engabukela umntu ebethwa erotsha oyenziwa lonto athi umna ndingenaphi kulaa nto yenziweyo so ihlobo esiphethene ngalo apha alikho right athi umntu uba bendimncedile laa mntu bezohlaba mna okanye atshone kum so ihlobo esiphethene ngalo apha alikho right tu.
So the overall objectives of the project was to investigate how young people in Makhanda make sense of Makhanda as the place, and also whether they are thinking that the place abahlala kuyo is sustainable. And we did that by creating educational affordances that bring Makhanda kaNxele and that bring context to where we are right now, how we've arrived to be where we are.
Umakhulu uThesani ngoko besixelela istory sikaMakhanda uthi ba there were rumors ezazispreadwa ngabantu abamhlophe besithi ba xa bekwiwo amanzi imbumbulu zojika zibe ngamanzi wayezama abantu abamhlophe bezama unyelisa uMakhanda as if ba ngumuntu, sorry by using this word, but ophambileyo and stuff like ofuna o betraya amabutho akhe. But kwelinye icala le story usicacisele umakhulu ba uMakhanda what he was trying to do was to give spirit to ibutho lakhe ba lingoyiki but to be there balwelo umhlaba wakhe umhlaba wabo nowethu nowabantu abamnyama to fight into eyeyabo.
sohluliwe abuyafana ngathi apha kusekile nezinto intolana apartheid because sohluliwe abelungu bahlala etown bodwa ngoba siyazi ngoba besisuppose ba simixiwe yonke lando if sizaba i-community sincedane mhlambi silwe i-crime yonke lando sizame reduce i-socio-economic issues yonke lando.
So one of the workshops that I facilitated to the project was a project that tried to get this sense of how these young people are making sense of a community yabo. Making sense of a community yabo as a sustainable place, we had to use a painting as an approach to facilitate that conversation because it is such a big question. And unpack a londo, we opted to use the painting, and what we did there was to ask them and break the question into a very small question. What is it that they like about their community, and what are some of the problems abazibona community yabo, and what makes them to think about a community zabo that they are not places abafila safe kuzo. So we opened that conversation by saying paint all of these things and then we come and reflect. So for me, what was very important about that in the painting exercise is that abantwana then think about these big issues, but they are doing it in a creative way, in a fun way, in a playful way.
Hayi mna bhuti ndifuna ubuza ezi buildings uzisebenzisayo laa nto uyenza phaa ngaka-opposite legend necathedral uyayifumana ipermission yokuba wenze izinto uzenzayo phaa?
Did we get permission today? Do you think, did we get permission today? No, we don't get permission. You just do. Because you know why? We own the spaces. We need to claim the spaces. You do not have to be asking, that is a public space, right? A public space, a public cathedral. You're allowed to go inside there.
La session yokusikhumbuze leyokuqala yale Makhanda Ngoku project. Anothi bayandifilisa njani. I was a bit confused ngokuyana. Bakwenzeka ntoni xa kuchoko like mosubhuti Khumbuzo wahlaba ipicture kaGraham phaa ngakasa statue nezambola, and then from there kwayiwe cathedral. So that confused ngala nto.
On the project, really, the idea was to think of it really to how to think of it as part of a methodology that to write histories, to think through histories, thinking sideways. When I say thinking sideways, I think it is knowledge that would be thought of that's in periphery, knowledge that it's overlooked, but also to kind of understand that when a photograph is not just physical, what can a story tell through a photograph? What does the image, the subject of the image tell? What is the composition of a photograph? So in a way, it was also just to move away from the formalities of what is a photograph, but I think is to then inform what should be in a photograph. In a way, like think about the making of a photograph, not just the act of. Also to think about witnessing photographs. Then photography in itself, by the way in which it's taught, or the way in which I teach photography, where I'm always about, before you take a photograph or before you make a photograph, do think as to how the context influences how you make an image.
Mna ndingathi wayebazonda ubhuti Khumbuzo, naye wayefuna sibe kulaa nto akuyo, siyibone indlela like abebexhaphaza ngayo irheni naba bantu, because apha erheni zange bazofika bazolungisa okanye bazosibonisa into bona abadume ngayo kwicala labo. Into bebeyifuna qha ukuqhatha abantu abamnyama babathathe lo mhlaba, and then kuphelele apho abantu abamnyama babakhuphele ngaphandle emhlabeni wabo.
I think they were more than using the word shock, they were intrigued. I think they were also curious as to why, for instance, you burn a photograph. Why do you you introduce, for instance, you burn the photograph, you introduce symbol, you introduce, then post when we were talking about it, I had to put it to them that, look, for these things to appear, for these things, there was a level of violence, there was a level of terror, a level of calamity that comes with taking a territory such as the one that we're in. We're in the districts of the Sarabatban district. So the fact that the way this town was designed also, it comes with a lot of violence. But I think this violence, it is also to think about what are symbolic things that one can use, which are quite iconic in a way, to think through what happens if you thrash out a photograph? You know, what happened if you burn a photograph? What happened if you then inscribe using Imbola on the very same public memorial, which are names of people who are omitted out of history?
I think umakhulu no Taskum bebesifundisa uba ezi-statue ezilapha they have no right to be here because as a black person thina xa sijonge ezaa statue like asibi na memory entle because of what happened. So nam after ndivile ba what really happened apha eMakhanda, ndiba surprised ba why abantu abaninzi bezipraise that statue. Like someone would go and take a picture of a statue as if a memory entle, but it's not a memory to be kept. Istatue ezifanele bazibayiphana zistatue sikaMakhanda Ngoku, not abantu ababethanda baba ezama uthatha umhlaba wethu.
Into endiyifundileyo kule project yile nto yoba uMakhanda ngumntu. Bengayazi into yoba uMakhanda ngumntu, bendicinga uba uMakhanda ligama nje njengele sima betshilo uba becinga uba uGrahamstown kanye urhini expired then kwangena uMakhanda. Nam bendicinga njalo uba ligama elitsha elidevelophileyo kuze kube kuMakhanda. Bengayazi into yoba uMakhanda ngumntu wayephila like ngumntu wayephila manyanyana and wayelwela thina njengoMandela but in a different way.
Inintsi into ethethwayo ngamakhanda and kulapho siqale khona xana sithe sawuhlala phantsi setyisa ngelithi kuyathethwa ngamakhanda, kuninzi okubhaliweyo online kumakhasi onxibelelwano. Ngoko ke besifuna into yokoba siqale apho sijonge konke oko siziqhelanise noko sizame ke ngoku ukuqwalasela ngamandla ukuthi ingaba le nto ithethwayo okokuqala ithini.
Andiqali ngokuthi apha eMakhanda Ngoku siye sihambe kanye sometimes singahambi sifundele endaweni sifundiswe about into eyenzeka apha erheni and siboniswe nendawo iziganeko zazenzeka khona.
Traditional approaches don't seem to be, they don't seem to be doing the work in terms of getting young people to see themselves as active participants in their education. That there is a teacher who is teaching and the kids must just listen and regurgitate whatever is being said to them. But when they are a central part in the education and they get the sense that their views are as important as the views of the facilitators that come in, I think that is one important part of or aspect of them seeing that makes them able to exercise their agency as well, because they are seen as valuable participants in their own education.
The workshop that I enjoyed the most was the workshop with Utata Machoba, when we were writing poems. I enjoyed the poem because it improved my skills through writing poems. The interested in writing poems. So after I have to write poems, it really helped me in schooling.
Ingaba yonke into ethethwayo ekhoyo phandle apho injalo nyani na okanye sivuma nje uba sixelele singovuma sikuthobele. So ngamafutshane besizama ujonga apho into koko ingaba le nto ithethwayo ibhaliweyo nguMakhanda indlela uba ithethwa ingaba nathi siyangqinelana nayo okanye siyibona ibutenxa okanye itenxele mpela.
We also feel like art-based methods are very important in education because they give young people and everyone really a different form to express yourself. And I think if you consider how people are different, then you understand that different people have different ways of being able to express themselves. What may be the best way for me to be able to say this is how I want to talk about a certain issue may not necessarily be how another person is able to express themselves. So using art is one way of opening that door for some of the different people and different types of people that we interact with in the process.
Fukani zemgingomo, Fukani madoda zemgingomo, 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 Nilele zemgingomo, Nilele na 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 zemgingomo, oh Keula zemgingomo, Ingomo, Ingomo skabawo, Ingomo, Ingomo skabawo.